Happy Gita morning, everybody. Thank you for getting out of bed on time. Thank you for, you know, putting first things first. First things first, get out of your head. First things first, get into your heart. Only love, only love. First things first. Only joy, only joy. First things first. Only peace, only peace. First things first. Love, joy, and peace. Yeah. So happy day, my dears, and thank you for coming on the Gita. Chapter 16, we're almost done with chapter 16, and we're heading into chapter 17, maybe today, but who's looking at chapters? What we want to do is look inside, as you know, and each of you are becoming quite an expert at doing that. It's the attempt, my dears, it's the attempt that we make that is the bomb, right? It's the attempt. God watches the heart. He doesn't watch the effort and what your thoughts are about the effort. He watches the heart. And then when your heart is pure, then you have an opening. You have an open door. Door my heart, open wide I keep for thee. Wilt thou come just for once come to me? Will my days fly away without seeing thee, my Lord? Will my days fly away without seeing you, my Lord? So that's one of these days, my dears. And we'll not let this day go by, this moment go by without our hearts in tune, our hearts riveted, so to speak, on love. let me see. My doodle's kind of scratching at the door. What are you doing, Pat? What are you doing, Pat? Okay. I'm back. I'm back, my dears. So much for the introduction this morning. Why don't we all close our eyes and in your own language, in your own personal relationship with the divine, go ahead and have your prayer before we start the broadcast, the casting of all of our beingness into the ocean, into the stream of this divine dream of waking up. Yeah. So go ahead and have your morning prayer, and then we'll get started. So let's listen to these words from our commentator, Paramahansa Yogananda, in this version of the Bhagavad Gita. There's so many versions, there's so many translators, and we're so blessed to have him. He says, life may be dark, difficulties may come, opportunities may slip by unutilized, but never within yourself say, I am done for. Okay, God has forsaken me. Who could do anything for that kind of person? Your family may forsake you, good fortune may seemingly desert you, all the forces of man and nature may be arrayed against you, but here's the key. But by the nature may be arrayed against you, but the quality of divine initiative, he's big about initiative. It's that soul spark. It's that soul determination, that you decide that's what you're going to do no matter what the situation is. You just decide. You're going to feel it. You're going to feel what's right. And then you're going to go after what's right. And it feels like you are doing the right thing. So the family may forsake you, good fortune may seemingly desert you, all the forces of man and nature may be arrayed against you, but by the quality of divine initiative within you, you can defeat every invasion of fate created by your past wrong actions and march victorious into paradise. If if you still have invasions from the dark side and from the karma, but by the quality of divine initiative within you, my dears, you can defeat every invasion of fate created by your past wrong actions and march victorious into paradise. So, wherever each of us stand right now or sit the way we are right now, can we just let's employ this supreme help, this supreme realization that no matter what, and there was a lot of no matter what's in that quote, right? No matter what, we are ready to march victorious into paradise this morning. How's that? You want to go together? Denny, Lisa, and Jeb, and Ryan, and Brooke want to march together? What a beginning to an amazing day. Yeah, there's one heart. There's one heart marching, and the others are going to join at some point. Again, let's don't look at time as time is looked at, right? Let's just look at the intent of our hearts right now. Let's just feel into our hearts right now. Let's have just a heart fest. Usually we call it a love fest, but let's have a heart fest this morning. In other words, that your whole intent is what's in this heart of yours. Maybe little sweet nothings you whisper to God as we listen to this commentary by Yogananda, chapter 16. God talks to Arjuna. Maybe there's just this silent, converse going between you and the divine beloved. And that probably would do the trick, my dears. That would take care of everything. So let's not only march, but let's just have that intimacy from the heart with the divine beloved. Oh, how sweet it is. So you ready to hear what we left off at? We left you with not knowing the solution to this guy who was followed by robbers and saw what seemed to be a holy man. He asked him, "Please help me, because these robbers are going to kill me if you don't tell them that I went this other way." And this is a pretty good story about that ultimate truth. That ultimate truth. We call this stream this morning, my dears, the ultimate truth. And this is a quote from Yogananda. This is what's in the Gita coming up. That truth implies real ultimate benefit The best definition of truth that I could find anywhere. That truth implies real ultimate benefit to self and others. The truth is always the best for everyone, my dears. Nobody's left out of truth. Nobody's left out of love. That truth implies real ultimate benefit to self and others. So I kind of gave away the punchline on what happens to this guy. We left off. Well, let me just start over actually, so you get the whole story. All right. This story will illustrate the difference between truth and the inferences of the intellect. Wow, it's a big subject, right? The difference between truth and the inferences of the intellect. A saint sat meditating under a bushy tree. A frightened man came running to him and said, "Please, holy sadhu, I'm going to hide in the tree above you. Don't tell the robbers pursuing where I am, as they are after my gold and my life." The saint replied, "I cannot speak untruth, but I can remain silent." But the man warned him, "If you remain quiet, they may try to force the truth out of you. Just tell them, just tell the robbers that I fled in the other direction. That will save both your life and mine." What would you do? What would you do? The saint remained stoically silent as the terrified man scrambled to conceal within the dense foliage of the tree, to conceal himself within the dense foliage of the tree. The robbers appeared and demanded to know the whereabouts of the man. Here's where it gets interesting, my dear. The saint replied, "I won't tell you. I won't tell you." Uh-oh. But when the robbers threatened to kill him, he reminded himself that the scriptures, in addition to prescribing the telling of untruths, enjoined man to protect his life from destruction. So then he started thinking of himself. He therefore pointed his finger toward the upper branches of the tree where the man was hiding. The robbers, this is quite a drama coming up here. The robbers dragged down their hapless victim, relieved him of his packet of gold, and stabbed him to death. Whoa. And went on their way. When the time came for the sadhu to leave his body, he was a religious man. He was a religious man. When the time came for the sadhu to leave his body, after many years of scrupulous regard for the scriptural ordinances, see, here's the difference between following, kind of blindly the scriptures, because the scriptures supposedly have the truth, nothing but the truth, so help us God. And that common sense, that heart sense, that just knowingness sense, that sense that comes from a connection with the divine. Hey, hey. So after many years of scrupulous regard for the scriptural ordinances, he eagerly anticipated entering the heavenly realms. He knew for sure he was going straight to heaven. The apparently taintless saint was stopped, however, by the king of death, who told him, "Dear saint, no doubt you are very holy, but you have committed a terrible error of judgment." Now, what could a terrible error of judgment mean to us today? Hmm? Can you guess what would be a terrible, terrible error of judgment that could happen to us today as we listen to the rest of this story? Dear Saint, no doubt you are very holy, but you have committed a terrible error of judgment, in punishment for which you must come with me and stay a while in Hades. Whoa, what? Really? You can take this not personally, of course, right? Everything in life we want to take non personally. The saint protested, I have committed no sin, though. I have always pursued the path of truth. That's why people get facts mixed up. See, the truth implies real ultimate benefit to self and others. That's Yogananda's definition. That the ultimate truth implies real ultimate benefit to self and others. So we can, at this point, maybe really lock it on and in our consciousness that unless, whatever our situation, the facts, whatever those facts are, just the facts, ma'am, that's not the truth. The truth is what can benefit this soul. Huh? What can benefit this soul? All that guy had to do was point the other way and send the robbers onto the other, wrong direction. That's all that guy had to do. Well, look, he's got a penalty to pay in 80s now. So the king of death told him, Dear saint, no doubt you are very holy, but you have committed a terrible error of judgment, in punishment for which you must come with me and stay a while in Hades. The saint protested, I have committed no sin. I have always pursued the path of truth. That's a tough situation to be in, right? Be a holy person, always trying to do follow the scriptures, always do the right thing, so to speak. But the king of death said, Excuse me for contradicting you, dear one. The king of death replied, But why didn't you point your finger in the wrong direction? This is a good story. This is a really good story to remember. This is one that I've always remembered in Paramahansa Yogananda's teachings for some reason. Because there's so many times we make a judgment, right? And the facts could say, yeah, that really happened. That person really is that way, or that person really did that, right? That's what the law says. But this is saying if it doesn't benefit that soul, that's why we've got to have that compassion and understanding, my dears, and that we and forgiveness, all of those beautiful things to put in place of no matter what we see. Facts are not the truth. The ultimate truth is if it benefits self and others. Yeah, that's a pretty good standard. That's the gold standard. That's the high road standard. So why didn't you point your finger in the wrong direction when that innocent man, now it's an innocent man too, sought your protection from the robbers? Which was the greater sin? To mistake a fact or to permit the man to be hacked to pieces because of your action? To mistake a fact is not the truth, my dears. Only if it benefits you and others. Wow. Only if it benefits you and others can we say it's the truth. The saint belatedly understood the difference between truth and mere facts, and that truth implies real, ultimate benefit to self and others. So, after atoning for his error in Hades, he was free to enter heaven. So Yogananda's commentary on that story. Sin committed consciously or unconsciously brings evil results, even as poison, whether swallowed intentionally or unintentionally, brings death. So this is a huge stream today. I think this is a captivating principle and very important for our standard of life. If you want the gold standard, if you want the spiritual standard, if you want the happiness standard, if you want the inner peace standard, right? Yogananda goes on to say that failure to discern true righteousness, failure to discern this truth that we're talking about today in verses 23, 24, chapter 16 of the Bhagavad Gita. God talks to Arjuna, volume 2. Failure to discern true righteousness, my dears. And that goes for what goes on in our mind thinking when we think about others, when we think about situations, when we look at the news and we see what's happening in today's breaking news. It might be easy to not discern true righteousness from some situations that are developing in our nation and other nations, and of course in this Mother Maya delusion that we're in. So failure to discern true righteousness and to conform one's actions accordingly yields painful karmic results. So you just can't say, you can't just brush this one off. It's this good thing about, if you're going to judge, you're going to be judged. If you're going to have this kind of attitude where you can say this is just bad, this is just wrong, right? There is no bad and there is no wrong in the righteousness of truth, my dears. That's the point, right? So failure to discern true righteousness and to conform one's actions accordingly yields painful karmic results, no matter how couched in supportive scriptural truths. No matter how it's couched, and you could call out all these scriptural truths, and it's still not going to hold up to the fact that we didn't have that discernment to make sure that everybody wins. A win-win. A win-win, my dears. A win-win is more important than these crazy human facts of life. So without awakening the faculty, here we go. Without awakening the faculty of intuition through which one knows ultimate truth. See, ultimate truth, we could talk about it right now. We could share, this story as we just did. We can think about what it is, what it means to us, and what we're getting from this. But to really know, hey, Hap, leave it. Hap keeps itching herself. And really to know ultimate truth, we got to awaken that faculty of into me I see, that intimacy, that intuition. Phenomena or substance behind all phenomena, which is their substance, is God, truth, and the phenomena is the appearances. So what appears to be real is not, because it is spirit. It is spirit alone behind every incident, behind every detail, behind every, choice we make. So we want to develop more this calmness and this non-judgmental attitude as we go about our day on planet Earth today, right? As we go about one step ahead and then another step, practicing our presence, our sacred privilege of knowing that we have our consciousness that is our support system to develop this constant awareness that we are walking in the light, that the light is us, that everyone is that light, that everyone is a child of the infinite, that everyone is God in disguise, in drag, that their facts are not the truth if they do not benefit you and others and our world. One cannot say he knows the truth without that intuition. Truth is considered by many schools of philosophy, my dears, to have only a relative, not an absolute value. It's considered just to be a fact. A fact. It's just, it's a law. It's a law of this particular situation or this nation or this country or whatever. It's a law set up by man or woman. But the sage, hello, Miss Sage, Narayan, and Mary, and Alex, Lisa, Jim, and Denny, and Brooke. Could we be those sages in the making, in process, in becoming? But the sage of divine realization, she and he learns to balance the rigidity of intellect. We're not talking that you have to be perfect. We're just talking about balancing the rigidity of our intellect, our inferences, with the fluidity of intuition. The fluidity of him could be, why is it fluid? Why is intuition fluid? Because there's no stains, like the scarlet letter kind of stain or venial sin kind of stain in our consciousness, because we did the right thing because it's the right thing to do, my dears, right? And that is to make it a win-win regardless, and make that happen in your minds first, a win-win. Can you take a situation in the political seat today and make it a win-win in your consciousness? Can you avoid, getting drawn into the drama and trauma of it? Yeah. So that person, that sage, be a sage. Be a sage. Learns to balance the rigidity of intellect with the fluidity of intuition. He and she is able to determine in all the variegated circumstances of this relative world. Wow, there's a lot of different circumstances going down. And you can imagine with everybody's mind, what's going on in everybody's mind, how you go crazy thinking of how crazy what's going on in people's mind, not to mention your own mind, right? Everybody's got their own world. They got their own idea of things. Can you imagine that? So we need to learn to balance the rigidity of the intellect and the inferences and what we think we know when we really don't, with the fluidity of intuition and leaving no traces of any kind of lower vibration in us. See, if we make somebody wrong, if we thought of ourselves first, and then the person that we could, even though there's a fact behind this person's whatever it said, whatever it did, right? If we can just have fluidity and just let it go, let it come in and let it go out, and bless that soul, bless that soul. But for the grace of God, there goes me, there goes I. So we want to be able to determine in all the variegated circumstances of this relative world. Can you imagine all the different combinations of circumstances that are happening right now? If we can determine the course of action that is proper or truthful. If we can determine the course of action that is proper or truthful as judged from the standpoint, if we are able to determine in all variegated circumstances of this relative world the course of action that is proper or truthful as judged from the standpoint of absolute truth or God. That's a big, that's a big, this is a big little few paragraphs, right? This is a buildup of 8 years to get to this point, to understand how important this is, my dears, that we can, with all the variegated circumstances of this relative world and all the ramblings still in our minds and the inferences that still haunt us or are part of us, that the course of action has to be the one that is judged from the standpoint of absolute truth or God, not from the facts, ma'am, not from the facts. Every person, Yogananda goes on to say, every person has at some time had an intuitional glimpse of truth as a hunch, an inner feeling, or conviction that is proved to be right. Right? Have you had those? Have you had some of those intuitional glimpses of truth as a hunch? Sure, you have. You might be having them all the time and not be, in this awareness as a hunch, an inner feeling of conviction that has proved to be the best for you and the best for others. When this innate power of knowing is developed by calmness and meditation, good old calmness and meditation. Wow, it's such the bottom line, my dears. Calmness and meditation. It is such, it is such a, it's such a standard for a teaching like Yogananda's. It is such a, you know, the door, the open door to happiness, to peace, to joy is our developing of calmness and intuition and meditation. It really is. When this innate power of knowing is developed by calmness and meditation into a pure, unerring intuition of the soul. Pure, unerring intuition of the soul. Wow, what a beautiful mind and a beautiful heart and a beautiful energy and a beautiful awareness that must be. To have pure, unerring intuition of the soul. Yeah, just put yourself into that situation that you have in the calmness and whatever you would say your meditation is. It's your heart that God watches in that meditation, to go back to what we started talking about in the beginning, God watching the heart. But that pure intuition of the soul, the devotee in that unerring intuition of the soul, that devotee has access. Do you want access to the library of all wisdom? Of all wisdom, do you want access to that library? Well, develop calmness and in meditation, the pure, unerring intuition of the soul. Then you have access to the library. The library of wisdom, my dears, contained right within yourself. So from here on out to the end of this chapter, Yogananda is going to start talking about what he talks about the best. and brings to this world the best. And it's not the easiest at all. It's about you bring, what is this? The library, you get an access to the library of all wisdom contained right within yourself in the cerebral spinal seats of life and consciousness. Another way to say that is in your chakras, is in each one of those temples within us as the chakras, the divinity of God resting in those astral and those causal parts of you that is just, too. Are you kidding me? Says the normal person, says the worldly person. Are you kidding me that I'm going to give up what I my way for this highway into a world of esoteric, mystical things called the wheels or the chakras? Wow, what a thing to bring to the world, though. And yet, can you imagine Yogananda's coming to Boston in the 19 early uh, early on and having an ochre robe and people who aren't used to that at all hearing them, and yet he sang on God, oh God, beautiful for his first chant in a big auditorium, Carnegie Hall, I think. And he had people chanting for an hour. Can you imagine though those times to bring such a steady consciousness, such a beautiful consciousness, and such an unreal, seemingly unreal possibility? Yeah. So he goes on to say, an advanced Kriya Yogi, which many of you are, an advanced Kriya Yogi who in Samadhi meditation has withdrawn her consciousness and life force from the realm of the gross body. First, you want to withdraw your mind from your mind, and then from the gross body and senses, and enter that inner world of wisdom revelations, that come through that pure intuition, my dears, that comes from that pure non-judgmental mindset where there is only this best for this person. The best. Imagine this is one practice that you care about the best for this person, regardless of their actions, regardless of what they do, regardless, the best. Bless the best. Bless the best. In other words, bless the best in everyone, even if it is a fact that they ain't the best. Okay? Bless the best in everyone anyway, my dears. In Kriya Yoga, we withdraw our consciousness and life force from the realm of the gross body and senses and enter the world of wisdom, revelations. That sage, you, Narayan, Mary, Alex, Lisa, Jim, Danny, Brooke, you become aware of the 7 sacred altars of spirit in the spine and brain. Wow. Really? Is it time on this planet for us to understand there's an inner self? There are these 7 sacred altars of spirit in the spine and brain, and receives all knowledge when we have that pure intuition and we're not judging and we're seeing the best in the best, and that best that is the best that we're seeing, it could be their worst, but in our consciousness it's the best because we see the spirit, we see the truth, So it looks like we can, you know, we don't have to give the facts to have the truth, my dears, right? We don't have to follow the law if it's not really a benefit to others and our world, right? Seems like it's kind of happening in certain spectrums of our world right now. That type of situation. We become aware of the seven sacred altars of spirit in the spine and brain and receive all knowledge emanating from them. Thus, we'll end with this sentence. Thus, in tune with truth through intuitive soul perception. In tune with truth through intuitive soul perception. That means you see as God sees. That means God doesn't see anyone as bad, anyone as wrong. He sees them as an absolute stunning mirror of who he and she is, the Divine Mother, Heavenly Father, the Holy Ones, the Holy Spirit. Thus, in tune with truth through intuitive soul perception, my dears, she and he knows invariably the correct guidance for all aspects of her spiritual and materially dutiful content. She invariably has the correct guidance for all the aspects of her spiritual and material dutiful conduct. Wow. Unbelievable. Unbelievable that we could be alive in these bodies with these situations going on, with all the facts, man, right? Buts, all the butts sliding, sliding down the hill on our butts, right? And yet here we are, dreaming of the highest, dreaming of what has been brought into this world through someone like a Paramahansa Yogananda, and of course a scripture such as the one by Bhagavan Krishna. What did we do to deserve this, my dears, from Brooks by dialing 911 911 and ask for the one and tell the one you're the only one. You got it, Brooke. You got these little beautiful little nudgings of your heart and soul to bring your vibrations up, 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 up. Thank you, Brookie, for that. And thank you, Mary and Alex, for being online this morning. It added a whole bunch of beautiful light into our talk this morning. And I'm so grateful that each of you are listening. I'm so grateful that you are open. I'm so grateful that you are you, being you, and knowing that you have the discernment, you have all that is needed to have that righteousness, that everyone is divine. Everyone is their best, even when it's not their best. All right, Narayanji, thank you. All love to your souls. All right, so I'm getting over. Get ready for our 8 o'clock a.m. PST time stream. So happy days, my dears. Happy really seeing today, right? Happy really understanding today. Happy really wanting only the best for everybody, really. And what's the best is this beautiful God soul perception. Realization is wake up, world, wake up, wake up. As the Yogananda would start his talks, oh, as every awake and ready, everyone? And people would say, awake and ready. He said, no, come on, let's hear you. Awake and ready, they would say. Awake and ready. That's us. Have a beautiful day, my dears, in the best of the best of the best of the best. Love you all. Maybe see you online for the meditation, but certainly see you online with the divine and how you are connecting and how we are connecting, but it all is really merged into one beautiful union with spirit, as Brooke just said. So dial 111, ask for the one, or dial 911, ask for the one, and tell the one, you're my only one. And that is that. Namaste. Hare Krishna, Hare Bol. Have a beautiful day, my dears. Aho.